October 2025 is finished and in the books, and October in Cleveland means clam bakes, so we had a whole bunch of those along with a handful of other events this month. We also did our annual Oktoberfest event, so stick around after the intro to see what we did. Our first event this month was a clam bake at the American Legion in Avon Lake. It was our first time at this venue. We really enjoyed it. The setup worked really well for us. I believe we had right around 100 guests, about 120 some dozen clams this day, so it was a good way to kick off October. If you watched our September video already, you kind of know how clam bakes go, but if you don't, I'll let you know once we get the setup on site, get the steamers nice and hot. First thing we do once soon as they're ready and steaming is load the clams. We get our clams in, washed and bagged by the dozen. We use middle necks. They're bigger than little necks, more tender than top necks, so we find them to be a perfect clam to use. Everyone seems to love them. So here we are, myself and Johnny, getting the clams in and starting off cooking for the day. If you're unfamiliar with clam bakes in general, our clam bake, our land and sea clam bake, comes with a dozen middle neck clams, a handful of Prince Edward Island mussels, some grilled boneless lemon herb chicken breast, corn on the cob, red skin potatoes, coleslaw, New England style clam chowder and broth. So once we get the clams in, and those have been going for a little while, it is time to start the chicken. So here we are, just getting the grills ready. We grill over natural hardwood lump charcoal, so it takes a little while for the coals to reach temperature and be lit evenly. Once that's ready, we start the chicken. Our next stop in October was one of our clam bake tour dates, was at Barnegie Hall, again back out in Avon Lake. This event was open to the public. It's a fundraiser for the Music on a Mission organization. We do it every year. They have a concert after the clam bake is served. So there you see the venue. We've been doing this one for quite a few years. We look forward to it every year. Here's our setup outside at Barnegie Hall, and then inside where we serve the chowder, there's Stephanie pouring some butter, and the steamer is hot, so throwing our clams in. This one was right around 100 guests too, not as many clams, We always give guests the option to order an extra dozen pre-ordered with their dinner if they'd like. Not too many people do that at this one. It's usually just about a dozen clams per person. Still had both grills going, 100 pieces of chicken. And like I said earlier, along with all the sides and chowder and all that good stuff. After that, we did an event that was not a clam bake. It was just a banquet at New Russia Township Hall. Here you see the buffet. We did whipped potatoes, steamed buttered baby carrots, our pot roast with roast chicken, and we did a salad table. And you see there's the gravy for the pot roast we put back there as well. Couple clam bakes, private events at homes. After that on the weekend, been out to these folks' house a couple times to do a clam bake. They do it every few years in their backyard, out by their pool. It's a smaller event. It was around 50 people, but private events usually are a little smaller than the big organizations or the events on our tour date. So just one grill set up that day. We had our small steamers, and the next day we were at another house for another private clam bake. And here you see the setup that we had that day. Try to time things so the chicken and the clams are done right around the same time. After that, we were at the Beaver Bar on Lake Erie. It's down in the boat marina. Beaver Bar is an open to the public restaurant in the marina. This is another one of our tour dates. Here you see Johnny pouring broth over the clams, just kind of adding some flavor, mixing the broth up. And that rounded out that weekend. After that, we had a lunch event at a factory. We did bratwurst and brisket. It's just sandwiches, nice quick lunch for them. We're out here to see these guys a couple times a year usually. There you see our beer brats with caramelized onions. And here's the buffet. They had a veggie and a fruit tray. They did coleslaw. They did macaroni salad. And there you see here the buns and the bratwurst and our brisket. So the next day after this, it was our first open to the public special event at our new venue. So here you see the pavilion is all set up. It was our annual Land and Sea Clam Bake. We cooked the clams outside near the pavilion and served the rest of the meal inside. It was a pretty good turnout. We had about 100 guests. Got a little bit of footage, but was too busy to get too much. There you see some people decided to eat in the dining room. There's our buffet table with our desserts that we put out after the dinner. But we still had some people going through to get their main course at that point. After that, the weekend started. We were back on the lake. This time of year, we do a lot of clam bakes on the lake. This was at a different boat marina. Small event, private event for a group out there. We do this event again every year. They always like to add grilled scampi on, so there you see the scampi on the grill after the chicken came off. Those don't take too long. They're pretty good. They're our lemon garlic scampi we serve with the meal. The next day we had a weird 80-degree day right in the middle of October. So it was a good day for grilling. It was a small event. We did our grilled boneless lemon herb chicken breast and took it out to a church where we set up a buffet. With the buffet, we served our buttered red skin potatoes, our green beans with mushrooms and onions, and they had some pasta and meatballs to go with their chicken and some garden salads. So the next day here was an event we served cafeteria style for lunch, so we made the plates for everybody and passed them out. Just au gratin potatoes, stuffing, pulled chicken, and pulled pork. From there, we were out to another factory. It was our first time out to see these guys. They had roasted potatoes, roasted veggies, green beans, pot roast, chicken, and I believe there's some pasta back there that you can't see, along with some salads. And then after that, we ended the month with our annual Oktoberfest event we do with KTM Motorcycle Group. They have a large facility in town here, and so they always order a pretty nice spread. Here you see getting ready for that event. We are getting our beer brats ready. We steam those with Yingling first before we finish cooking them. Couple of the dishes for the Oktoberfest event have beer. Here you see I'm getting ready our beer cheese. Basically make our cheese sauce that you've seen me do for other things like mac and cheese and whatnot before. Reduce down a couple bottles of beer and mix it in at the end. I like to get the alcohol cooked off and reduce the beer so we can add a lot of flavor without thinning out the sauce too much. So for the Oktoberfest menu for the guys out at KTM, not only do a few dishes have beer, most dishes have onions. So I sliced and diced a whole bunch of onions this day. The menu was our beer brats with caramelized onions. We did some smoked garlic kibasi with our bacon and beer sauerkraut. We had soft pretzels with beer cheese, cabbage and noodles, roast pork loin. We did a little dessert tray and a veggie tray for them too. Here you see the first bit of onions I have done. I'm getting ready. I'm going to do 2 batches of sauerkraut, you see there, and 1 batch of cabbage and noodles. The cabbage and noodles went in the pan with the butter in it. So we get that all going in some bacon grease and let that cook down. In the meantime, get the cabbage ready. For the cabbage and noodles, just quarter a head of green cabbage, take the core out there, and then when it comes to the dicing, you don't really have to worry about being too particular. It's a rustic dish, so just kind of a rough chop on the cabbage gets the job done. Once sauerkraut has cooked down a little bit, we Add a couple bottles of beer to each pan. So we have the onions caramelized, added the sauerkraut, cooked that down a little bit. Now it's time to add the beer. We add our seasonings, let that cook down a little more. Top it off with some bacon that I cooked off in the oven and had chopped off already. And then the sauerkraut goes in the oven for a little bit to finish cooking. Once the onions are cooked down in the butter for the cabbage and noodles, add the cabbage and bacon, let that cook for a little while. And then that continues to simmer on the stove for a little while longer with some chicken broth. So there you see that. From there, it was time to cut some more onions for our beer braised bratwurst. Comes with caramelized onions on top. So got these all julienned up. Took me a little bit of time, wasn't too bad. Was a lot of onions that day though. My eyes were watering by the time I left the kitchen. Once the onions were all julienned, tossed them in a bowl, added a little black pepper, a little kosher salt, some canola oil, got them mixed up. And one of our tricks, we find the easiest way to caramelize a bunch of onions, especially if we have a lot of other stuff going on that needs attention, is we'll toss them in the oil, salt and pepper, spread them out on a sheet tray, and we do them in the oven. So once I get these coated, I get them out on a sheet tray. Try to spread them out single layer as best I can, get them nice and flat, and they go in the oven. About part way through, we'll pull them out and stir them up and pop them back in to finish them off. There are the brats. Once I took them out of the oven, they are nice and steamed, and we will finish those, get the skin nice and crispy, and top them with those onions. Last bit of prep I had to do for Oktoberfest was slice up the kielbasa. Did about 20 pounds, and so got that done, and then we were finished cooking and off to the event. Here you see the buffet set up. There's our veggie tray. Also some potato salad that I forgot about. Our bacon and beer kraut with kielbasa, the bratwurst, pretzels and cheese, cabbage and noodles, roast pork loin that we carved on site, and the dessert tray. We also did some drinks for them. We had a cooler of some cans of pop and some water. And that was the end of October for us. So we are heading into November. It is time to start doing holiday parties and all that sort of thing. We are done cooking on site for the season. And so videos are going to change up a little bit. You will see some different menu items here in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next month for November's video.